My neighbours are being a bit noisy. I'm hoping it doesn't pick up on this camera. Hello and welcome back to Bug Realms. On this channel we like to discuss all things creepy crawly, so if that's something that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about 5 reasons why I have fallen in love in becoming a cockroach keeper. 5 reasons why you guys at home should follow this path too. And reason number 1 is live food. And it's not just live food, it's a variety of live food. You see, not all cockroaches are the same. You get giant hissers, you get tiny little Kenyan roaches, you get so many different types of roach that all will have a different genetic build-up, different genetic makeup. It will have different nutrients in their systems. They will be of different shapes and sizes and also different behaviours, which offers your animals, your predatory animals, variety. Variety is really important when keeping our animals. Stick insects, for example, some of the best keepers in the world, in fact all the best keepers in the world, offer them a variety of food plants. They don't just stick to the staple of bramble or privet, unless of course no other plant is being accepted by their animal. All the best keepers offer variety and they get the healthiest stock. And I think the same thing could be true for our predatory inverts. Yes, we can offer crickets one day, we can offer mealworms another day, and then we can offer our bog standard roaches that we keep. But why not have a huge variety? It will save you money, it will be healthier for your animal, and in a minute we'll talk about the behavioural part, and that is one of the key things that I think is important here. Now yes, you see a lot of other keepers, YouTubers, so on, that just have boxes and boxes worth of dubia roach, red runner roach, and the occasional will dabble in things like lobsters. And I'm not putting those guys down. They seem to have nice, happy, healthy collections. But again, it's not the variety of life. Some of their tarantulas are literally eating just dubia or just red runner for most of their lives. Just different life cycles, different stages. When they are slings, they are eating baby red runners. When they're a bit bigger, they're eating baby dubia, and so on and so forth. Why not offer them that variety like they would get in the wild? Admittedly, they're not going to get just a load of different species of cockroach, I know that, but they are going to have many different varieties to try, and you can see which ones that yours favour. You could potentially be boosting the health of your predatory inverts. And before I move on to number 2, I want to talk about the behaviour part, and this is the part that I find most intriguing and I think is most important. Our predatory inverts are predatory for a reason. They're hunters. They could be ambush predators, they could be actively hunting, they could be all different types of method, but they are predators, they are hunters in a way, even if they are sit and wait ones, right? So why not offer them those different behaviours of the different cockroaches that are going to enter their domain? Some roaches literally just like to hide and burrow. Okay, they might be useful for fossorial tarantulas, for example. Then you get other cockroaches that are great climbers, some that even fly actively. That will be fantastic for things like praying mantis, arboreal tarantulas, all sorts of things that will live anywhere up in the trees, in the middle of the enclosure, those that like to actively hunt and chase and stalk their prey. It will be fantastic for those. You get your slow ones, you get your quick ones, you get your ones that camouflage. I just think that having different behaviours within their enclosure will more mimic their natural habitat. Even though these are just roaches, I know, they're not everything that these guys will find in the wild, but they're having the different behaviours, they're having to learn those, they're having to adapt to those, they're having to hunt those, and I think that will keep them happy and healthy. It does with many other animals out there, so why not do it for your predatory inverts? So now we're going to move on to number 2, and number 2 is cost effectiveness of them, and not just as live food. Not all of my roaches am I going to offer as live food. A lot of them are pets. As I said, when there are surplus of them, if they overbreed and I get overwhelmed, they'll be used as live food. But a lot of mine are currently just kept as pets, and they are so much cheaper than some of your other animals out there. Maybe not the cheapest in the world, but cheaper. Now again, I'm not just talking about things like your doobie roaches and your red runners, your bog standard roaches that are that cheap that you can buy 1,000 or so for whatever, 20 quid, 30 quid, I don't know what it is these days, because I don't actually keep doobie or red runner anymore. But even ones you keep as pets, you can get starter colonies or just groups of 5 or 10, I prefer groups of 10 minimum, of roaches, all for really cheap. £5 for a little box of roaches, £10 for a box of roaches. Yes, you get your more expensive ones as you do everywhere else. You got things like your rhino roaches that are still about, I don't know, I think mine was £100 for a pair. I've heard of people getting them for 60. Don't know how you guys manage that. And then of course you get other sellers that are selling them on the average of like £200 to £300 a pair. Yes, you've got things like that, but you also have so much variety that are really cheap. So for a few hundred pounds, you could set up so many different colonies of roaches of so many different species. Whereas if you were just spending it on, like in the tarantula hobby, for example, and you went for the higher end, you're not going to get anywhere near as many, you see, and then you're going to have to feed those, and that's going to become expensive. So not only are roaches cheap to buy, they are cheap to feed. Some of them are fed mostly on decaying leaves, the white wood, things like that, fungus. So they're obviously really cheap. It's like feeding isopods, right? And then you've got your others that will prefer things like your vegetables and your fruit. I just give mine scraps. I have a Lucia hermetica colony that has been going for years, that I have literally hundreds if not thousands in there that I feed off of my veg scraps when I'm making a roast dinner, for example. I'll peel my potatoes, my carrots, things like that. I chuck them in there. When I like to make coleslaw, for example, so chop up that cabbage, whatever's left over that's not going to be used in time for it goes out of date, it goes in with them. These guys are thriving off that. Plus they also have my dry food blend, and my dry food blend is expensive, but that's because it's for research purposes. You can get really cheap dry food to feed them. So you could have colonies of hundreds of roaches in just a short space of time, if they're kept correctly, for not much money, and you can thoroughly enjoy them. Now we're going to be moving on to reason number 3. Now reason number 3 is I have a strange passion for underdogs, right? My whole life I have always liked underdogs. And less popular things, I should say, more than underdogs. Underdogs in the world of popularity, more than in how they are. I've always found that fascinating. And when something becomes too popular, I sometimes kind of even lose passion sometimes for it. It's really odd. It's just the way I am. It's just my mentality personally. And roaches are not that loved as pets. They really aren't. Yeah, you get a few people out there keeping your hissers. You get a few people out there keeping the odd 1 or 2 species. But there really aren't that many people that are really into roaches. And that is something that draws me to them. It's like giving something a chance. You know, we all want to do good by people. We want to do good by our pets. For me, I want to do good by something and make something loved that people forget about, people don't even think about. For me, it's getting into something that not everybody is into. And these kind of lead on to the next 2 as well. So for that one, it is just my mentality of why I want to keep them is because to me they are underdogs in popularity, right? So that leads on to number 4. It's showing love to something that doesn't get it. And I don't just mean personally, I mean for the world. Okay? These guys are looked at as disgusting, as gross, kill it, so on. That was one thing that drew me to the tarantula hobby, to the spider hobby as well. All those people kill it with fire. You know, they're afraid of it, so they think it should die. When it has an importance on this world, when it is a living animal, it's the same for cockroaches. I know a lot of people that got over their fear of tarantulas and turned that fear into fascination, turned it into love. I want to do the same for the cockroach hobby. There's a few people out there that are really into them that I've been chatting to, and I can see their passion, and they know vastly more than I do. But that is encouraging me to want to learn. I want to learn about these species too. I want to pass on the love too. I don't want people just considering them as something gross, as something which should just be trodden on, as something that shouldn't be anything more than a feeder, for example. Now, I understand in certain countries there are pest species of cockroach. I get why you have to eradicate those from your home. That's a totally different subject. In the UK, there are no pest species over here that I'm aware of. We do have some native cockroaches, or we do have some that live in this country. I don't know much about our ones, but we don't have infested homes and things like that. It's just not something we have here. But from my perspective, because I don't have to deal with that within my own home, maybe I'm more obliged to want to give them a chance. But let's put pest species aside. Okay, there are only a handful of pest species out there, yet there are thousands of others that you could keep and care for in your home. And if you are in the UK like me, there are many species that if they escape into your home, they're not going to survive our winter cold. They're just not. And even if you have a lovely heated room, they might thrive in there a bit, but you cool that room down, or they escape from that room and it's winter, they're not going to survive in our climate. So I want you guys to sit and have a hard think now and think why it is that you don't like cockroaches. Is it because you think they're ugly? Is it because you think they're gross? There are some beautiful looking cockroaches out there, some that people wouldn't even realise are cockroaches. We give beetles a chance. We give spiders a chance now, which is fascinating, which is great. We give scorpions a chance. All these things can be considered ugly in people's eyes. I remember before I became a tarantula keeper, I was terrified by spiders for many years of my youth. And I instantly thought they were ugly. If somebody said something about a spider, instantly that was my thought, ugh. But I learned about them and I changed that. And that's what I want you guys at home to do. I want you to learn about roaches. I want you to change your feelings about them. Maybe keep them yourselves at home. Follow me in this path, in this journey into learning something newer. I have been doing this behind the scenes for a couple of years now, but I've still got so much more to learn, so much more. And I want to do that with you guys at home. So this is going to be leading on to number 5 now, and this is another reason why I think that some of you guys should jump on ship for roach keeping. Number 5 is that I think it's going to be the next thing. You might think I'm crazy saying that. What do you mean the next thing? Roaches? Are you kidding me? Well, I said the same thing about isopods. What, 5-6 years ago? Was it about 5-6 years ago? Something like that? I said, do you know what? The isopod hobby is growing. It's doing all right. But I think it's going to be a massive hit. And I started kind of keeping a lot then. Well, I wasn't wrong. Had I not have to sell off everything that I did back along, I'd been well ahead in the game in the isopod world. Well ahead of the game. I don't regret it, but I know that I would have been. I mean, look at it now, it's flourishing. It's flourishing. In fact, it's gone bonkers, in my opinion. There are so many more morphs of certain species now than there was just a few years ago. And people are then just marking up that price, selling them on, just for slight genetic changes to their look, to their appearance. Well, this one's got a spot in a different place. This one's got a slightly different colour variation than that one. Let's bump it up by this much money. It's become quite a greedy world, the isopod hobby, and it's not something I want to delve too deeply back into. I still have my rubber duckies, they're kept up here, and I still want to keep a few more species. But I'm kind of glad that, in a way, that I didn't delve too deeply or carry it on too deeply, because I don't want to be in that toxic side of a hobby that I'm finding the isopod world to be, and it's a real shame. And I'm hoping the roach one doesn't go that way. But the point I'm trying to make is, I called it with the isopods those years ago. I even spoke to a lot of the businesses around and said, this is what you want to start selling because it's going to be a thing. A lot of them did, actually, and they're doing well out of it. And I have that feeling that roaches could get there too. I don't think it will jump as quickly, I reckon about 2 years time, check back on this video in 2 years time and see if it has grown. I don't think it's going to explode by 2 years time, but I think it's going to be on that gradual incline where the isopods were. And then maybe another year or so, boom, I reckon that's when we're going to hit it. Let's say 3 to 5 years time from now. So I reckon you guys should get in the game now, get keeping, then when it does become a big hobby, you'll have so much love to spread with your collection, whether you want to make money and sell them when they become big, or whether you want to just give them out to people, make other people happy. No judgment here, whichever way you take it. But either way, you could really, really benefit other people. And as we said, with number 1, if you get too many and you keep predatory inverts, you can keep your numbers down by feeding them off. So I think it's a win-win. So I'm going to end the video there, guys. I'm sorry that it was mostly just me yapping, but I was passionate about this. I was thinking of what kind of video I could make, and I was thinking of all these cool things I could do for you. And I thought, no, I want to sit here and I want to spread the roach love, the roach hobby love with you guys. And I'm curious to see what you think about it. So make sure to comment below. And even if you think they're gross, tell me you think they're gross. Let's see if I can change your mind in videos to come. I don't know. We'll see, guys. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.